Hello and welcome back to Asia Now. My name is Alex, and in this video I'll tell you about a Philippines House representative trying to legalize cockfighting in the Philippines, 15 police officers fired for failing to make an arrest, Guo sibling baptism certificate is fake, the Philippines' July inflation reaches 4.4%, protesters ambush Bangladesh PM's residence, forcing her to flee to India, and much more, starting off with the usual Philippines USD exchange rate. The dollar actually fell to under 58 peso, so at 57.84 per every single dollar. Before we get into our main story, take a quick second. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It's completely free, but really motivates you to make these videos on a regular basis. Here's our main story. In order to offset the 7 billion revenue loss from banning Philippines offshore gaming operators, POGOs, House Deputy Speaker J.J. Suarez proposed regulating online or offline cockfighting, sabang. Suarez highlighted the potential of the billion-dollar industry to generate government revenue and mitigate job losses of 25,000 Filipino workers. During a budget discussion, Suarez urged the Philippines Charity Sweepstakes Office to explore regulatory options. PSCO chairperson Felix Reyes noted that the lack of clear regulations for sabang, but saw potential for PSCSO involvement. Despite President Marcos Jr.'s ban on POGOs due to criminal activities, underground e-sabang persists. So these e-sabangs are basically cockfights that are online, the same as any kind of betting. Well, first of all, the fact that this is even being proposed in a hearing at that caliber with politicians shows you how, I wouldn't say behind, but cockfighting is still a big thing in the Philippines. I personally have not seen it since I live mainly in the cities and IT Park and BGC, all that stuff. So I don't visually see it on a daily basis. But the Philippines is a very big country with a lot of history and culture and tradition, and some of these type of stuff still happens. Illegal gambling under any circumstance, in the US or other countries, is dog fighting, right? I don't agree with it at all completely. I think cockfighting is wrong, but then it's the same as eating certain animals. Where do you draw the line between, what's the difference between a cockfight and killing a chicken to eat it, right? So I know one is for consumption, the other one's for betting. I'm against it, don't get me wrong, but the older I get, the more I start to understand it a bit more. I'm not okay with any of it still, but I'm curious about your thoughts. What do you think of the House Speaker saying let's legalize cockfighting? It sounds crazy to me initially, but I mean, it's obviously a common enough thing for them to even consider it. And then 15 police officers were fired for failing to arrest Pastor Apollo Corbaloy and 5 others on minor abuse and trafficking charges, as stated by the Philippine National Police Chief General Romel Marbel. The officers included 3 commissioned and 12 non-commissioned, were not dismissed for abuse but for failing to detain the fugitive. During a Senate hearing, Marbel explained that the June 10th operation adhered to PNP procedures and noted that the members of Cubaloy's Kingdom of Jesus Christ used women and children as shields. The PNP filed obstruction of justice charges against those apprehended. This goes back to the police trying to arrest Cubaloy at that Kingdom of Jesus place, but a lot of people did not want the police to come in, so I guess some kind of mishandling of that whole situation, and they got 15 people fired. And next up, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian revealed that the baptism certificates of Wesley and Simon Guo, brothers of suspended Bantan Island Mayor Alice Guo, are fake. The place where the baptism supposedly took place has no records of them. Gatchalian urged the Philippine Statistics Authority to investigate further. The Senate previously ordered the arrest of Alice Guo and 7 others, including her brothers, in connection with cases involving Philippines offshore gaming operators linked to a slew of crimes, including laundering, corruption, and foreign invasion. Serious charges. Alice Guo is still on the run. Nobody knows where she is, and now the certificates of her brother's baptism seem to be fake, as there are no records from the original place where they were supposed to be baptized. Next up, in July 2024, the Philippine inflation rate rose 4.4% from 3.7% in June, driven by increased housing, utilities, food, and non-alcoholic beverages. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority, food and non-alcoholic beverages contributed 55% to the total inflation. The National Capital Region inflation rate increased to 3.7%, while the regions outside NCR saw a rise of 4.6%. The National Economic and Development Authority assured the public of government intervention to support vulnerable sectors and ensure food security amid the La Nina phenomenon and high inflation, including the Rice for All program and various agriculture support measures. Inflation is one of those things that's inevitable. I'm not an economist. I don't know how these things work, but all I know, the effect that it has on on regular people on a budget, not just a tight budget, but a monthly income. Anyone that's just working, essentially, that's not rich, inflation is gonna affect you. With these kinds of numbers, we're looking at about 50% raise within a year. So whatever cost you, let's say $1 last year, is gonna cost you $1.50. If it cost you 100 pesos last year, by the end of this year, it's gonna cost you 150 pesos. I know personally, for the past 6 years, going in and out of the Philippines and living there for a very long period of time, I even noticed a large increase in the prices. Every time I go back to the Philippines after a month or two, I noticed even like menus and Burger King, McDonald's, KFC, stuff that were legit there for me to see visually. And I recall seeing like a 2-piece chicken for, let's say, 150 pesos gone to 170 pesos. Now for you and I, it may not be a big difference for 20 pesos per meal, but imagine having a family of 4 and living in the Philippines and growing up in the Philippines and earning Philippines pesos. It definitely is going to affect the regular person. Next up, Cebu has been named one of the top diving destinations in Asia according to Agoda's booking data from January to June 2024. Bali, Indonesia topped the list, followed by Phuket, Thailand, Okinawa, Japan, and then Cebu, Philippines, and Nha Trang, Vietnam. Scuba diving is increasingly popular in Asia, with regions, destinations attracting more enthusiasts. Cebu offers diverse marine life and stunning underwater scenery, with Malapascua Island being a notable spot for encountering thresher sharks. The global diving tourism market is projected to reach over 10 billion by 2032. That's insane and awesome. I love Cebu and I love all the little islands and places, south, north. Anywhere in Cebu and Malapascua is a great place. If you've never been, try checking it out. Next up, on Monday, jubilant crowds of Dhaka stormed Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's residence, celebrating and waving flags. Hasina, 76, had reportedly left for a safer place, India. The unrest began over civil service job quotas and escalated into calls for her resignation, resulting at least 300 deaths since early July. Despite curfews and deadly force, protesters defied security forces. The army chief is expected to address the nation. Hasina, who has ruled since 2009, faces accusations of entrenching power and stifling dissent. Vast crowds, estimated 400,000, followed the streets, leading to a symbolic demand from a former army chief for the government to allow protests and withdraw troops. If you haven't seen by now what's going on in Dhaka and all of Bangladesh is crazy, and I guess the people just had enough of whatever's going on over there regarding job quotas. So I guess the government wanted to reserve 30% of all government jobs for the family members, and that kind of sparked this whole thing. And then a Pulse Asia survey commissioned by Senator Sherwin Gatchalian showed that almost 8 out of 10 Filipinos support the banning of cell phones in schools. According to the survey, Filipinos across all socioeconomic classes also support the cell phone ban in schools. Basically, yeah, surveys show that cell phones should be banned in schools. I agree. I'm a grown-up right now, so I think I would, but I think as a student, I'd be completely against this. Next up, some quick news. A man was found deceased floating off the Bantan Island in Cebu on Tuesday morning. There's no identification of this person. Once we have some more news, I'll go ahead and share that with you guys. And then some quick news from Thailand. I'm just going to read the headlines to you guys. A Thai man was arrested for tricking young girls into producing adult content. Blacklisted Vietnamese man arrested for illegal entry into Thailand. Japanese woman searches for her son missing in Thailand for 4 years. A Dutch ex-soldier was arrested for having a whole bunch of drug stuff. You guys like that professionalism at the end of that one? A whole bunch of drug stuff. Yeah, YouTube is forcing me to watch what I say and how I say it in case it's not obvious at this point. So yeah, there's a lot of guidelines and there's a lot of things I cannot say, and that's why there's sometimes bleeps and silences. Now it's time to take a look at our section called Yesterday Today, where I read the most popular comments regarding yesterday's video. Tom Daly said, the jeepneys iconic to the Philippines. I've been on them before. Overcrowded, uncomfortable, but very cheap. The exhaust is nasty when you're riding behind them. I believe they should shut them down unless they are modernized. User Andrew Jones says, old jeepneys are unsafe and unclean, very uncomfortable way to travel. And Living B says, to modernize our jeepneys, it takes capital. The government needs to create a viable program that is win-win, whereby operators can see a path and not just bear the cost. Living B also has a lot to say regarding the jeepney modernization. I'm going to leave it right here. If you guys want to read that, go ahead and pause. But that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, take a second out of your day, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. I just got a pigeon landed on my balcony. Y'all want to see this?